hopefully it
I'm ready.
keeps up. All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Recap Thursday, the show where me and Captain Legs go over everything that happened during SNRPG.
Yeah.
It's been a cold week. It's been a cold,
It snowed.
cold week.
It never snows here, and it snowed. And it's supposed to snow again, like right now.
Yeah. We usually have snow in March. Like that is usually like our first snowfall. And then like
not usually, no.
It's really late. That's the point I'm trying to make.
It's either really early or really late. Like it'll come in November or it'll come in like January, February, or March.
Yeah.
But never in December. So this is nice. We're due for a snow because the last decent one we had was like 5 years ago. Yeah.
We actually have a shot at having a white Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Take that however you will.
Lots of cocaine. Anyway, let's get the show on the road. So previously on Raethborne, we arrived in Ashal, which is the Elven. It's basically Rivendell, except in like deep in the forest. It's about 30 kilometers east of Lethanar, which is the Elven Ruin. If you guys remember from last time, it was where the funeral procession for the elves. That's where they were headed. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's where we left off.
I'm still trying to process the cocaine. Carry on. Keep going.
It's okay. You do you. So first thing in the morning, we are brought food, like lots and lots of food, a total plethora of elven goodness, which Nurhaus doesn't like. It's like it's too late for him, but for us, it's just like really decadent, really nice. The Warseer.
What are these words? These word of the days.
What, decadent?
Decadent and plethora. Ooh.
Well,
stepping it up.
I'm just flaunting my
flexing on them. Let's go.
My vocabulary. So the Warseer Elithas is he shows up and he's flanked by two elven guards and a man. And this man is very familiar to us. He's a man known as Evander. But he is actually just being like escorted by the guards because he's like being monitored. And Jeffrey said this word. They deposit him in the room. And then they just chill there because they're still like keeping an eye on him. Nurhaus and Evander go to greet each other. Nurhaus goes in for a handshake and Evander pulls him in for a hug, and it's this nice like tender moment because side canon, these two are lovers.
The most romantic. Yeah, the most romantic of lovers.
They're very, very cute. Why did I write Nurhaus? Evander, what he has been doing since we last saw him, he returned to the last town we were in with him. Do you remember what that was called?
Cadif,
something like that. So he returned to that town and found it. Yes, Scoots. No punishing. Look at her face.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah. So he found his friends there and took care of the business that he said he was going to take care of, and then he ended up in Dorset. And there he heard rumors about an inquisitor who was looking for us, mainly Devril, but
surprise.
And so he decided to go find us first and like gave us a heads up, let us know. And he found himself in the forest, deep in the forest, where the elves captured him. Yes. And he basically stayed in elven prison for a few days, which was like a nice hotel just under surveillance. So it's like
a nice relaxing vacation with security. With VIP security. That's it. That was it.
Yep. So then Evander tells us about the Inquisitor, and we're like, Yeah, we know.
We know. We know. Don't you
uh,
worry.
yeah, so then we spend like a nice little bit of the morning together. Val goes off to see her family.
This is true.
Um, they live in a treehouse, but it's not your run of the mill treehouse. They live in a house that's built around a giant, majestic oak tree. Um, and she knocks, and Val's mother appears at the door, and she smiles ever so faintly because elves really they're not very strongly emotional people. But she smiles and hugs Val. Um, they have a they have a nice little mother-daughter moment, which again isn't very emotional, but like for them it's quite the moment. They haven't had that in a while, and the mother wasn't sure if Val was ever going to come back, and Val actually doesn't remember why she left in the first place, and she explains to her mother that she did indeed lose her memory, um, and they're hoping that the elders will be able to help her remember. Now, the rest of her family, her brother is at the garrison, and her father is at the conclaves. So she
And her
was there anything
sister,
else?
his
Oh
sister,
yeah,
and her sister's around. She's working.
yeah, she's doing Merc stuff. Um, so yeah, so Val's gonna
No,
gonna
her
spend
her other sister, the one
oh,
that's
other
like
sister, right, her
platoon.
her
Yeah,
twin
the
her
yeah,
twin sister.
yeah,
Um, yes, so she's off doing platoon stuff. Official army elf army shit. So yeah, Val goes off and decides to visit her father at the conclaves at the big old library. And she gets escorted there by some elves, but we'll get to that in a second. Now Ileana and Andrew go to the elders early because they don't want to go there with Deborah because they don't want to go and be like, hey, we need to exercise this guy because he's got 2 people in him. Because Deborah will be like, what the fuck? No, I don't. Now, so yeah, they get escorted there by a lot of elves, actually.
yeah.
So
You're
first up,
joined along the way. Once you hit the edge of the city and go into the woods, you gain that escort.
yeah. So we are first escorted by Quick Blade Leona. She's like our um, main guard, I guess. And then it takes us about an hour to get into the forest along sort of a game trail, is how he described it. And then at the edge of the city, we pick up about 10 more guards, and then they all take us in to see the elders. And the forest gets really, really thick, and as it starts to, I guess it starts to get really dense, and then there's just a clearing in the middle of nowhere, and it's a grove. And in the grove is one structure type thing. It's basically a ruin. Jeff said it looks like Stonehenge slash the Parthenon slash a series of columns.
Well, it is just like it is a series of columns, like a
Yeah.
maze of columns but there's no rhyme or reason to them.
Hmm.
Usually, columns are all the same height because they're trying to support some, but these are all different sizes and
They're just kind of
different,
there.
yeah, circumference. So you really can't tell what it was supposed to be.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, whatever they were supporting must have been a really strange, uh, very strange building. So yeah, the columns zig and zag through the ruin until we reach an open space, and there are 3 elves sitting in lotus pose atop each of their own columns, and those all 3 of those columns are all different sizes as well. And there's a guy in the middle on the ground in the same pose, and they're all meditating. And there's like a smoke type thing billowing out and like wisping around. It seems It looks like what wind would look like if you could see wind. Um, so there's really no explanation for that. We just kind of sit and watch. And yeah, Quickblade Leona tells us that like they're not quite done yet, so you're gonna have to wait till they're done to speak to them. But yeah, you're more than welcome to just sit and wait. So that is what we do.
Andrew's just loving it, by the way.
Like, Andrew's stoked. Like all of this magic shit. He's like, this is my jam. This is so good. Do you want to talk about Val's trip to the Great Library?
So yeah, she with her 2 escorts are going go to the Great Library, to which they are met by a shorter looking elf. He looks like a scribe, and basically, Val goes in and he stops the 2 guards and says, you know the rules, you can't enter. So Val asks why they can't enter, and the scribe gives her a little excerpt that basically 15,000 years ago there was a coup that happened, and from then on the house guard, are they called the house guard? No, they're not called the house guard. The elven guard. Elven guard?
Sure.
I don't know what they had a title.
The guards.
The guards. Basically the army was not allowed to set foot inside the Great Library. And when Val asked, and it's more of a tradition now, but rules are rules. It's just so that history can't be like tampered with, right? The elven history can't be tampered with. So the guards begrudgingly let Val go as she's escorted by the scribe, and she is led to a little kind of nook in the library where older looking elf is reading with the zoomed in glasses and keeping track with a stick as he reads from this big tome. Val clears her throat to get his attention, and he looks up, quickly taking his glasses off, and is very surprised to see Val. So they have a touching moment. She asks what he's doing. He's just doing work. He kind of explains that about a little bit of the political stuff and his work, but then cuts himself off, saying that her brother would probably talk her ear off about it if she, was. So they have a bit of touching moment, along with the stuff that she talked about with her mother. Her brother has taken kind of an emo / edgy disposition towards her. Mm-hmm. For how she left, and she finds out that he blames himself for her leaving and not completing her training as a mage. But she says she lost her memories, so he shouldn't worry about it.
I remember shit. Yeah.
So he shouldn't worry about it. That's just basically it. So yeah, they spend some time together. They talk, and yeah, I guess we'll do the talking. Ileana and Andrew talk with elders, and then I can go over when everybody gets rounded up and brought there.
Okay, sounds good. So, yes, meanwhile at the elders' grove, they have finished their ritual, whatever they were doing, and the vapor / wind / smoke stuff subsides, and all of them awaken simultaneously, like abruptly too. The guy on the floor wakes up and he retrieves a staff by way of floating through the air.
by way of the
yeah,
force.
pretty much like he just reaches out and the staff like floats to his hand and he's like, "All right, that's it." And then he gets up and looks at Andrew and Ileana as he passes them like with curiosity. It's at first it seemed like he was just looking down at us, but he's really just quite curious to see like why two humans are waiting for the elders to be finishing whatever they're doing. Yeah, as soon as that guy leaves, Andrew and Ileana walk in to that little area. Now the elders, they're all looking at us, sitting on their columns. I guess we walk into the middle area, or just in front of them so that they can all see. The eldest, he's like old as fuck. He's super old. His name is Eos. He looks very, very amused, sitting on his pillar. He's just sitting there like this, and he's just so
Intrigued. He's so intrigued.
Very intrigued by our presence. Like, oh, these two specimens have come in. I wonder what's gonna happen. It's gonna be really exciting. Morin, the guy on the second column, stares at us, and he seems to stare through us. Like his stare is so intense that it just feels like he's looking right into our souls, which is comforting. And the third one, Vythos. He's sitting there, and his fingers are laced together, and he's looking at us intently as well. Now, Andrew and Ileana explain to the elders what we need. They do ask why we showed up earlier than our scheduled time, because we did have a time slot and we showed up early, but it was just us. So they're like, "What's going on?" We explained to the elders basically that we have a friend. He's got two people in his head, and one of them is not so nice. So we're trying to figure out a way to get that not so nice one out of there. The second one, Morin, the one who was staring through our souls, he says that severe trauma can cause the mind to create a stronger personality to like cope with this trauma. So that could have been the case for him. This can be reversed, but he may die. That's a pretty big catch. And also, like he being like the nice one could die, and he may return fully as Zyron, which is the complete opposite of what we want. But it will be a lot easier to, for us, morally, to slay the dude.
All right. I see you.
Even if Zyron comes back.
No way. All right. Cool.
So,
I
anyway.
see where I stand.
Anyway, retrieving our memories will be a very intense experience as well, and so they're going to try to do this when everyone gets here, and then we'll deal with the whole Devril Zyron thing as we may. So they tell Ileana to wait a moment. Like they assume Andrew seems like the kind of guy who can like just clear his head because he's like got that whole mind palace shit down. But Ileana's like, she's a bit of a rock. So emotionally, anyway. So they tell her to wait a moment and clear her head, wait for the rest of them to arrive. Oh, and then back at the library. Did you talk about Val's sister already? I don't think you did. Yeah. You did?
Well, I'm getting to that. Yeah, I'm getting to that. So okay. Basically, back in the city, we are kind of rounded up. Nurhaz and Devril have been just working on the armor and making, patchwork repairs. Evander was bathing naked in the river and getting
scoping out the local
yeah, but then they just are looking at him with absolute disgust because he's hairy, well, too hairy for them, and whatnot. But Val's sister actually picks her up from the library, and they have a nice conversation about it. Her sister tells her a little bit about what she does, her work. And as well, she's still accompanied by the two original guards that they have, who obviously treat her sister with much respect for her rank. That's nice. They have a nice little chit chat. So basically, we're rounded up. We meet at the edge of the city, and we take that hour hike to the Grove and meet up with Andrew and Ileana, where the elders give us the lowdown of what exactly it is. Without first, they first tell us though that we are the first non-elves to come to be welcomed into or accepted into the city, and even in that grove specifically, for a long ass time. Like, this is this for a long ass time. And they're just basically making sure that we're not full of ourselves or think that, yes, they are treating us with hospitality, but it's not because we're special. Like, this is more for them.
This is like protocol.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it's more of this is an opportunity for them to study something that they themselves aren't exactly sure, right? Like, they're not, our circumstances are so strange that they want to know more about it. We're literally here as their test subjects, like if we want to put it in layman's terms. Devril eloquently thanks them, for their understanding and their whatnot, especially with the hostilities between humans and elves. The elders talk about something called the dream, where it's a voidless place where it has no form. You have no form. You can get hella fucking lost in it and basically lose your mind. So the elves developed something called dream walking, in which
the elven druids invented it.
Yeah, all right. That's the different sect. That's right. Yeah. The elven druids created something called dream walking, which makes a little the dream make a little bit more sense. So they basically create landscapes so that it's easier for you to navigate through. Right? You have a sense of up, down, left, right direction, and you have a sense of form. So they say that everything in the dream, your imagination is basically everything that makes up the dream, right? Your thoughts, everything that makes you is there. So we have to protect and make sure that we guard our thoughts well, because not only is the truth there, but also our nightmares and our fears, right? So with that pep talk, the group steals themselves, and the three elders start meditating. They have a specific hand sign that they're doing while meditating, and it looks like they're straining, and we see what Ileana and Andrew saw before, that look like what air would look like air currents would look like if you were able to see them, and they start swirling around us, and even regardless, they bring Evander and Andrew as well, despite them not, needing to remember anything. Mm-hmm. So it starts swirling, and we find ourselves in this like a maelstrom, and we're standing on a cobblestone island, floating in this giant
It was really cool how we got there, though. How we woke up. Or fell asleep. So the whole wind thing happened, and and we started to get sleepy, and so like just as, like we start leaning for like we're falling asleep, and so we're leaning forward, and then as we lean forward we snap awake, and when we do so we are no longer in the grove. We're now in this room. So that
Yeah,
was really neat, I thought.
it's literally just it's this maelstrom of colors and sound, and it's actually just too much. It's like a sensory overload as we're floating basically in the middle of this on this cobblestone island, and the elders go to the edges, and again, they're straining, and they look like they're really they're casting or meditating or whatnot, and slowly just things start forming around us, right? Cobblestone is coming up, walls are being built around us, ceilings, decoration, chandeliers, and after all is said and done, we find that we're no longer in that chaotic maelstrom, but in a hallway. And
Mm-hmm.
for each of us, we see the hallway a little bit differently. For Nurhaz, he sees, a stone hallway, very dwarven-like. The chandeliers and the lighting are, made of steel and iron, and they're, very mechanical. Devril sees it very thorandic, right? They're, glass ballroom chandelier, and, nice wooden panels and things like that. Ilyana sees it a bit differently as well. I don't think he explained much about it.
No, he just said it was Amarian,
Yeah.
so we'll go with
Whatever
that.
that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like and Evander sees it a bit differently as well. Like the chandeliers are actually just candle, like a big ornate candle holder with lots of candles, like a cast steel. So we all see this hallway just a bit differently for us. And the three elders say that it's taking a lot of effort for them to keep the dream walking in place, right? The scenery, so to speak. So they are here to be observers only. Like, yeah, and to be careful, because if you die in the game, you die in real life. So, yeah. So that's basically it. And because of that, where did I write it? Athos, the older, kooky elder, turns into a mouse and goes on Hollow's shoulder. Morin turns into a lizard and wraps around Nurhaz's neck. And Vithos turns into a bird that no one has seen before.
Yeah, I wrote weird bird.
Yeah, I wrote strange bird with
weird.
different colors.
It's a red. Yeah.
Yeah, with it. It's not. It has a lot of different colors. It's just a multicolored bird. With a nice plume, and it perches itself on Devril's shoulder. And with that, Nurhaz, starts walking down the hallway toward wherever. And after a while, before him is a door. And everyone sees this door, and it's not different for them. It's a very dwarven-like door, very mechanical looking, with just basically a handle right in the middle that seems that you just twist it. So, with minimum hesitation, Nurhaz grabs a hold of the handle, twists it, and the door slides apart in 3 parts, revealing his house.
Yes, his childhood home. Now it has all of his family's trinkets and whatnot, and it's exactly how he left it, or how he remembers it, but he doesn't remember it until right now.
Until
But
until
like
he remembers it.
upon seeing it, he's like, yeah, this is my house. This is how it was. On the mantelpiece is a dwarven skull, and it's like shrinified. Like there's things around it. Like it's clearly like a very respected skull on his mantelpiece. And so he goes up to it and he touches the skull, and it brings back memories of school and his family culture. But I didn't really write much down in detail for.
Yeah. Basically, he just gets assaulted with memories of his childhood, of his clan, of growing up, and he just starts talking out loud. He's like, oh, I remember this, and he starts telling us basically about himself. But after a while of this, there's still one thing that he can't remember, and it's his most recent memory of why he got exiled. He can remember everything else but that, and it's at that moment that the door almost appears on the far edge. It's more like a screen door, those Japanese sliding doors with the paper. And so he goes over there and he slides it open. Before that, actually, he goes up to the door and he can hear voices. And he recognizes one of his voices as his father's, and it appears that he's arguing with somebody. But he can't really tell, so he slides the door open, and sure enough, his father is standing there arguing with another dwarf. He's the guild master.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know if the pause to ring off.
All right. So he's the guild master, and he's basically trying to urge his father, saying, this can make a lot of people rich. Just all you have to do is turn the other cheek, or like look away. Just let this slide, and you'll benefit too. And his father's saying, no, I can't do that. That'll destroy a lot of families. I can't do this. I can't allow this. Basically, the guild manager says, if you don't allow this, you're going to be branded as a traitor. I expect your answer by tomorrow. And he storms out and he angrily leaves. And his father, with a looking very conflicted, takes a seat, and Nurhaz calls out to him, father, and his father appears to talk to him, and he says, like, Nurhaz, like, whatever happens from now on, because of my decision, like he can't let himself profit whatever this like back deal, shady deal that's going on. His father says, I'd much rather like keep my honor and not destroy other blacksmithing families for our benefit. And he's just like, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I wrote down like what he actually said. He says, you must be strong for the family. We will not take this deal. And Nurhaz says, I won't let you down, father, or something like that. And then behind him says, I won't let you down, father. And it hits himself. Nurhaz is behind Nurhaz. Dream Nurhaz is behind actual Nurhaz. But this Nurhaz does not, he doesn't have the outcast tattoo.
That's it. Yeah. That's the
one. So they're not exiled yet.
Yeah. But it's at that moment where Nurhaz remembers what happened from that moment. So it turns out that once the deal, his father doesn't accept whatever deal, they get branded as traitors, and a bunch of the houses that didn't agree to this get branded as traitors, and they get kind of hunted down to be imprisoned. Nurhaz is fleeing the city, and he had his plan. He had a friend at the gate that would let him out, and they would be able to escape. But it turns out that at the final moment, his friend who was supposed to let him out also got arrested. So a different dwarf was at the gate. He gets detained, and basically they brand both him and his father in front of each other, get kind of deepening the shame. And he sees, Nurhaz remembers seeing his father's shame and guilt, and the look of sadness in his eyes as they both get branded as traitors. And Nurhaz gets, remembers just getting thrown out of the city, knowing that he'll never see that again. But the thing is, he doesn't remember what happened to his father, because he was thrown out, and by the time he woke up outside the gates, no one was there. So
he does remember his trip now from then on until like this point. And someone actually the trinket that Nurhaz has his like chest with the like dwarven runes on it. Somebody managed to smuggle that to Nurhaz while in jail, but he doesn't remember who.
Yeah. And as far as he knows, that's the last family heirloom or sacred relic that is left, because the rest probably got destroyed. So he is really cherishing that for him.
Yeah.
So after all that sinks in, and he gets that, he takes a bit of moment and leaves, and the rest of us follow.
We exit with him, and once we all leave the room, we turn around and the door is gone. So we have no choice but to continue. So we do. The next door that we come across is on the other side of the hallway. It looks like a very heavy steel door, and it's like barred almost. It's got like this big latch on it, and Devril opens it.
Yeah.
It's the Devril door.
It's the Devril door. Basically, seeing the door, Devril remembers right away that this is the door to Judicium. The Judicator Watchtower in the capital city of Therend, where the king himself resides. So basically, Devril opens the door. And it's this huge thing. He throws all his weight against it, and as it creaks open, and everyone enters into what looks like a training courtyard.
So there's mannequins everywhere, training mannequins, and then a bunch of teenagers that seem to be going through this like grueling training, like brutal training. And Devril remembers this training like right away. We noticed that there's one instructor just kicking the shit out of a young kid. And at one point,
at him. Just literally just fucking yelling at him.
Like, you're trash, like get up, and like just beating the shit out of this kid. At one point, the kid, while taking this beating, he's in fetal position.
Right.
What?
All right. I was just about to say it. Devril, there as we continue to look at this one particular kid just getting the beat, kicked, just getting shit on. Everything kind of disappears. Except for yeah. Okay, I just didn't want you to like skip. Yeah,
except for this, yeah. Everything is darkness except for this. Yeah, the guy kicking the shit out of the kid. The kid is like shielding himself, like just in fetal position, not fighting back. Until at one point he opens his eyes wide and grabs the guy's leg, and manages to completely turn the tables and starts beating the crap out of the instructor now. This Deverell does not remember. He has recognized this child as like as himself, as a young him, and he does not remember this happening at all. Like even seeing it now. Did something happen?
No, don't worry.
Okay, weird. Yeah. So even seeing this now, he winds up and looks. He winds up for like the final blow to the guy, and looks at Deverell, directly at Deverell, like not Dream Deverell, because he is Dream Deverell. He looks directly at our Deverell, who's there right now, and he grins this like sinister, like not nice grin, like villain grin. And he gets up and starts aging, like right before our eyes. And like armor starts appearing on him, and this great sword comes out of nowhere, like the great sword that Deverell uses all the time. And this is pretty fucked up. So Deverell's like, he's nervous and he's sweating. And the dude now in front of us, who we recognize as Deverell, but it's not Deverell, he looks at Deverell and he says, Deverell. I never thought I'd use Deverell's name in a sentence as many times as I just did. But yeah, that happens. Now, Eos, as the mouse, does he change out from a mouse or no? He stays as a mouse?
It's no. It's the bird.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
It's the bird on my shoulder.
Vithos, yeah. So Vithos says yes. He says, this is the other you. Yeah. Now, headcanon accepted. Deverell's like, well, now, everything everyone's been telling me has been completely true. Oh. Well, fuck me, right? And then he says that, then Vithos says that one of them will leave here. They can't both leave here. It has to be either Deverell or that other one. And he must vanquish this apparition, and he will become the man he is meant to be. Meanwhile, Zyron is in front of us, pacing like a wolf, getting ready to murder its own lunch. So that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. They basically before that he basically had a quick conversation with Deverell, saying that he has been waiting so long to finally meet him, and that it's his turn. To which Deverell has no idea what that even means. Ask him what's going on, how he can be talking to him, because we just noticed that Nurhaz's conversation with his father wasn't actually a conversation with his father. Yeah, and it's just Zyron's just waiting for combat. Finally, wrapping his head around it, Deverell asks, because Val speaks up during all of this, and Deverell has just one question, and so he asks Val if this person in front of him, this other side of him, has ever hurt somebody that was innocent. To which Evander says, the first day that he met this person, he hurt Ilyana, and that throws Deverell into a rage. And
magic words.
Guns, yeah, and guns for Zyron, and they engage in combat. Now, with at the very start, everybody else, Hollow, Evander, Nurhaz, they instinctively they they try to charge forward as well, but find they can't. It's like this invisible force is holding them still, to which they can only watch this. But I believe it was Vythos who says, channel your energies towards Devril, right? If you want to help, and it use your imagination basically in the dream, and it will help him, right? Yeah. So the Zyron and Devril are trading blows. Val tries to cast magic, and in her cast she gets the elders kind of interrupt her and say, just hey, watch out. And as soon as she finished casting the spell, it almost feels like the world ripples and like shakes and fuzzes out a bit before returning to normal. And the training dummy that was there, its head kind of falls off, and people are like, yeah, all right, that's
like,
weird.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's weird. And Andrew cast a spell, and the elders kind of say, just be careful what he does. And as he cast it, his magic spell, the world kind of shakes a little bit, and then the training W whose head fell off starts bleeding from the neck. So we're just like, that's really fucked up. In the meantime, Ilyana is trying to support Devril as much as possible. She's firing arrows. Hollow is doing her best to think good thoughts.
Hollow's doing her best.
Yeah, doing her best to think good thoughts. Evander is also doing, concentrating. He sat down, has his legs crossed, and he's focusing all his energies towards it, and it's doing a better job than Hollow. He's having more luck. But Nurhaz as well, whether it was, as impartial as it has, doesn't do anything and watches this fight as more of like the honor of duel. It's just his whole dwarven pride, his samurai, that culture pride of not wanting to interfere with a duel, saying that the best one is going to win, and should win. So with that said, the battle is pretty fierce until Devril strikes Zyron and just cleaves straight into his shoulder, bringing Zyron to his knees. And Zyron almost looks up at Devril almost with a look of like shock and betrayal. And he almost looks like he can't believe he almost looks like he got slapped by his best friend. Like he kind of can't just believe what just happened. And he takes a hold of Devril's sword that's still fucking buried in him, and kind of looks up at Devril and says, I just wanted to help. And he disappears. He just he disappears, and as he dies. And Devril remembers everything. Like from start to finish, he remembers where he was born. He remembers how Zyron came to be. He remembers all the things that Zyron did, when
including burning the altar.
Which, fuck. So with all that trauma, it takes a toll on Devril's mind. He gains some insanity points. He gains the max amount of insanity points. Heyo.
Game on, Sam.
And just assault. But with that knowledge, Devril kind of takes the best part of Zyron, his his authority, his straightforwardness, his ambition, but without that twisted sense of morality. So Devril is basically able to take just all the good things from him, and from now on, he feels like he can make the tough choices without having to rely on Zyron to kind of shoulder that. So he is kind of the man wholly that he was supposed to be from the start. The true judicator, right? That is fighting for justice. Though, which it's really weird, though. But he kind of sympathizes and understands Zyron's reasoning for the things that he did. That cynical, that twisted kind of view that he had. It makes sense to him, and so he kind of can't hate fully on Zyron, because it is, he had to make the tough choices, right? So yeah, and that is where we ended our session.
Mm-hmm.
So
next week will be the last one of 2016.
Yep.
We've decided that it's way too hard to get people together during the holiday month. So yeah, next Sunday is going to be our final one for now, and then we'll pick it up again in January.
Yeah.
So next week we'll get to the rest of the group's memories.
Can't wait for everyone else's. Oh my goodness! Can't wait for Ileana's.
Nobody knows shit about Ileana, not even me. So
not even Ileana.
I know. Yeah. So
and Val too. Val's a big one because she's failed all her roles, and Hollow because she has failed all her roles. All three girls have just failed their shit.
They all suck. Yeah. So we get to learn a bunch more about Ileana, Hollow, Val, Evander, and maybe even Andrew.
Maybe who knows? Because they got.
Is he just an NPC? Maybe not. We'll find out. Yeah, but that'll be very, very exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Stick around for updates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Stick around for updates.
We'll see you guys this Sunday. Don't miss it. All right.